What is going on, guys? This is Julo, and today is a special day because I get to talk to you guys about a very special language. So today, December 15th, um, is called Zamenhof Day, and I'll explain in a little bit what that is and means exactly. Um, so this is going to be my submission for this ongoing thing called hashtag Esperanto lives. Um, so for those of you who are new to the channel, or or those who just speak English and don't really know what the hell I'm talking about on this channel. Basically, I speak a language called Esperanto, and it is an artificially constructed language that was created by this ophthalmologist named L. Zamenhof in 1887. And basically, in that year, he published what is called La Unua Libro, or in English, the first book, and this was the very first published work in Esperanto. So basically, his goal for this language was for it to be a lingua franca for the entire world, and basically a second language for everyone in the world. And it was supposed to facilitate international communication and foster peace between nations and all that kind of stuff. Um, so, it basically hasn't really panned out from that quite exactly. So the history of Esperanto, actually, this year is the 130th anniversary of its creation. So this year is actually really special for Esperanto and for the Esperanto community. But I'm not really going to go too much into the history because it's quite extensive. Even though it's only 130 years, it's still quite extensive and concise. So I think I'll leave that for another video. But basically, that's basically what it is. It is a constructed language that was designed to be an international auxiliary language for the entire world. Basically, it was made so that unlike other natural languages, natural lingua francas like English and Spanish and French, it was designed so that unlike those languages, it could be learned without force. Basically, it was supposed to be a peaceful alternative to the historical baggage that comes along with learning English and French and Spanish and those kinds of languages. But this language is not actually official in any country or region, I believe. Although, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually the language of instruction at I think it's called the Academy of Sciences in San Marino, and I think that's pretty cool that it's actually the language of instruction at that school. So that's pretty cool. So just to give some random facts and data about this language, I believe according to an ethnologue estimate a few years back, there are around 2 million speakers, and I think this goes anywhere from conversational to fluent. And surprisingly enough, there are actually native speakers. There are approximately 2,000 native speakers, and all of these speakers are spread out throughout the world. I think in most countries you will find at least a few Esperantists. But if I had to give a personal assessment of which countries have the most Esperantists, I would say that for the most part, they seem to be concentrated in Europe, but there are also quite a few in North America, like the US, where I live, as well as Brazil. There's a lot of Esperantists in Brazil. Um, and it also seems to be somewhat popular in East Asia, like China and Japan, for example. I know that when I went to Taiwan, there weren't that many Esperantists, but there were still some that I met up and spoke with and whatnot. So yeah, it exists. Oh, I think actually it seems to be growing really fast in African countries too, because um, it seems like a lot of African countries have established their own Esperanto associations and societies really quickly too. So that is also pretty cool. So just like any other language, Esperanto does have all kinds of things like movies. I know there was at least one full-length feature film in Esperanto that actually stars William Shatner, and it's called Incubus. But this is kind of an old movie. It's like from the 60s or so. But I think if you go on YouTube, there's all kinds of short films in Esperanto too. So um, I feel like in a way it kind of makes up for that because in this age with YouTube and video sharing and everything like that. And then it also has all kinds of things like um, music. There's a lot of Esperanto music, and there's also quite a few books. And I actually started stacking up myself on Esperanto books that I will actually show you right now, because why not? So this book right here, this is the Fundamento de Esperanto, the fundamental of Esperanto, and it may seem a bit misleading because the title is in Japanese, but that's only because I bought this when I was in Japan a few weeks ago for a few days, and for the most part, this book is entirely in Esperanto. Actually, not that part. Let me see. Yeah, so actually, it's not only in Esperanto, it seems. I'm trying to find a place where... Okay, yeah. So here, this is all in Esperanto, man. This is what's up right here. Basically, this book explains the grammar, the fundamental grammar of the language. And it actually is in a few other languages too, like Polish and Russian and German and French and whatnot, and English too, I think, because it basically explains it um, well, this book is really old. I think it's like Unua Libro type of age, and it was written for mostly Europeans at the time to learn this language. And yeah, that's pretty cool. It's also really cool that, oh, hang on, I'll show you guys this too. So this I also got in um, a bookstore, the same bookstore in Japan. And basically this is a phrase book with Esperanto. I really hope this text isn't backwards, because that would be so annoying. This is Esperanto, English, and Japanese. And yeah, it's funny how I found those two books um, in a bookstore in Okinawa, in the middle of the East China Sea. And that's the first time that I actually saw a language section with Esperanto books. So yeah, that's what's up right there. Um, and then this is basically a magazine by the Taiwanese Esperantist Association, and you can see the name is in Mandarin Chinese on the bottom. And this is the Esperanto name, Formosa Folio. And yeah, I actually got this as a gift by the person who runs this society. You may or may not know him. His name is Reza, and he is a pretty well-known Esperantist in Taiwan. So yeah, those are a few books that I have. I think I have more Esperanto books. But yeah, those are a few books that I have. Um, there are also websites you can go to learn this language. At first, when I started learning this language, there was only Lernu, which means learn, like the imperative learn in Esperanto. There was only Lernu when I first started learning this language, and that's where I first started learning it from. But as I make this video now, there are a lot more places and websites where you can learn this language from. Like, I know there's a Duolingo course in Esperanto, and it recently passed 1 million subscribers for that one. And I think the Spanish version of that course has something like 300,000 or so. And I think they are also developing a Portuguese version of that same Duolingo course. And yeah, I don't know what else I can say about this language. Oh, there's also a very special app that you can download called Amikumu, which was created by Chuck Smith. Shout out to Chuck Smith. He's such an amazing person. He also created the Esperanto Wikipedia. But yeah, this app, I think I'll show you. Yeah, I'll be right back. Hang on. Okay, I think it's running. Let me just hang on, get on here so I can show y'all this. Okay, so I hope you can see this. This app right here, right there, that should be Amikumu. It's really hard to see. So if I click on here, hope you can see this. If not, okay, so let's see. I think you can kind of see it like right here. So I am on the top right there, and all these people below me, they're all Esperantists. And basically, so the first person right below me, they are the nearest to me. So they're something like 5 or 6 kilometers away. And then all the other people, they're further and further away. And you can scroll down more. And I think it goes up to like 500 kilometers away. But yeah, all these people are Esperantists, and they're not that far away. Some of them may not speak it that well. So this is for people who either speak it or are learning it. And yeah, but you can actually also use this this app for other languages. So it's not just for Esperanto. So I think this is a really revolutionary app, if I must say so myself, and I would highly recommend this app. I think there may be a website for it, in case you couldn't see what that app looks like. But yeah, that's Amikumu, and I think it's a really cool app that I think you should download, because I think that if you learn Esperanto, it'll be really useful to you. So yeah, that's it for Amikumu. And that is basically that in terms of Amikumu. I don't know what else I can say about this language. I hope that I gave somewhat of a thorough rundown of this language, and if not, I think I'll just put in the description some links that I think you might find useful if you're just curious about this language, or if you want to learn it. I'll put in the links of every place that I know of where you can learn this language. And yeah, I think that's about it. I feel like this video is long enough. Yeah. I hope this was a good rundown for this. And yeah, this is #Esperanto lives. the 2017 edition. So yeah. Um, I guess if I didn't mention this before, this is in fact to just showcase that this language is still around, it's still spoken by people, it's still spoken by YouTubers like myself, and yeah. Um, so as we say in the Esperanto community, Gis la revido, until the re-seeing or the seeing again. But yeah, I'll see y'all wretches in another video. So, Gis.